be able to share with people some of the incredible insights and gifts that you have to share with people is just such an incredible privilege.
Oh, bless you, Anja.
You're a blessing. Seriously.
And to be honest, it goes both ways. It really, truly does.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you. So I know that Anaiya, you've written many books, several of them, including Sacred Sexual Union, which is the one that I was so taken by. It literally was like divine source speaking through that book to me. And it was so life-changing. I took this from your website, and it's an introduction of what you do. You're an initiator of gnosis. And all of these words are true. You're a wellspring of sacred wisdom. And for your role in revealing the temple mysteries, Anaiya unveils the oral tradition of Sophia, a continuous lineage with the feminine principle that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. Mm-hmm. Her passion and unyielding faith are radical and realizable. And your methods carry the hallmark of a mystic, so unmistakable in today's sugar-coated world of partial truth and the placating love. So powerful. Her ferocious allegiance to direct experience and radical revelation imparts a wisdom that inflames you. And it's true. Her teachings are sourced from her origins, and it is from there that she shares her wisdom. So, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because, I mean, you could talk for hours about the incredible stuff that you know, but, I mean, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, that's, as it's been, is a clever and very sophisticated way of distracting humans into a false place of intimacy and love. This is what we call it. If we have sex, therefore we are connecting. Not true. I believe this sacred sexuality is the real and sincere way of truly loving, truly unraveling into sincere intimacy and a place of healing and freeing and holding, whereas sex is the participation in this game of artificial communion. But it doesn't lead to anything. And we all have that little feeling at the end that the French call le petit mort, the small death, because it simply hasn't gone anywhere.
It's almost like the conventional sex. I mean, it's very pleasurable and enjoyable, but there's some substance that we kind of almost like we know on some level is missing. Would that kind of describe it?
Exactly right, Anja. Exactly right.
The fact that it's the second question I have is if we have systematically been separated over the centuries from all that brings us to the full expression of our true power, how is the reclamation of our divinized sexuality an act of rebellion and self-empowerment based on your wealth of knowledge and experience?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay. So picking up from that last answer, the act of rebellion is the wild, anarchic pathway between two people and oneself to not believe what the mind is telling you. I have found from my own experience, when you start to take sexuality deeper, you are going into the roots of your being, the architecture of your being, and all the places that you've been hiding and lying and minimizing. You are literally making love to those places. And so in the beginning, all of that material starts to come up, and it comes up in the mind. And the mind will say, stop playing down here in the bowels of our being. And that is where that act of rebellion comes up. No, beloved, I am going there with or without your permission. And it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be polite. And that is the rebellion. Do not believe the mind. at these beginning stages, because all it's doing is literally transcribing what is down there in the basement, the place you have been avoiding by having lots of sex and being, stimulated by a more superficial way of connecting. Is just to keep on going. The mind is not a bad thing. It transcribes, it deciphers the material of the body.
Almost like a computer in a way, like kind of a processor in a way. Maybe.
It doesn't mean to do that. That's its job. It's the mirror.
Oh my God. Move into another question I'll ask you. Could you please briefly describe your recent programs and how can people find out more about you and about your online and your live workshops as well?
Well, what's coming through now, Anja, is probably what has waited patiently for a long time. Everything's leading to this. Since I saw that man on the steps of Sacred, everything is leading to this, and I'm throwing myself head first, heart first, womb first, into the real creation of temples everywhere. I want and need and have been assigned the task of really bringing that sincere and holy temple space back into humanity, back into community rather, and making it as regular as, going to the baker's, going to the post office. So everything is being shaded by that. It is time for these physical, I don't mean, gatherings, I don't mean circles, I mean real creations of real temple space, where this touch of Sophia, which is wisdom, it's going to come to you through the sacred touch. So man, woman, child, and animal are being invited into these spaces to receive the sacred touch, but that touch is by the hand of Sophia, or wisdom herself. And I have been skirting around this for years, feeling unworthy to take on such a task. I know I give off a good show, but in the bowels of my being is that I can't do this. I'm not able. I don't have the resources. But for years now, I've been skirting around, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And now I'm being backed into a corner by life herself. And I just got to go for it. It doesn't matter whether I have the resources or the capabilities. I simply have to show up every day with that task, with my assignment, and give that day over to another step in that direction. So this temple space is coming back, Anja.
Thank God.
And I need to train men and women to hold that frequency, that pure and magnificent frequency, and not go here and not go there, and to administer that level of medicine into every single human and animal that crosses their path. And I must say, being in the States whilst Donald Trump was elected.
Oh my God, you were there.
Yes, we landed into Portland at that time. And so obviously the news greeted us. And for me, I actually bless and thank Donald, because that was the turning point. Now the whole of my being realizes everything is now in the right place. This beautiful man has just slotted into his most perfect role for you to say, okay, no matter what I think, mind, it is time. And then the final little moment was being on Taos reservation land and hearing a beautiful indigenous mother speaking to her family up at Standing Rock, and what had happened that weekend with the riots and the pepper gas and the tear gas and the water cannons. And I'm listening to that telephone call on reservation land going, yeah.
Wow.
Show it more now.
that segues beautifully into this next question, and it has to do with, in light of all that's going on in the world with the recent U.S. election and all these kinds of negative things that are happening, like in Standing Rock and things, that how can your work help people to reignite and reconnect with their passions, the meaning of their lives and their holiness in their lives, despite all of this?
My feeling, my journey, and what's in my heart is intimacy. Truly and utterly meeting another person or other people completely undefended. No tricks and games going on. Purely meeting in the heart, in the soul, with others. That is human. Listen, I remember being with Andrew Harvey in April this year at the White Lion Sanctuary, and he categorically said, we have run out of the luxury of being able to do things to prevent this global change, this phenomena that's coming away. There's nothing more we can do now. What we have is being. We can be a certain frequency. We can be a certain emanation. And so, yes, this is what I am doing my utmost to be and to play and to create a place of being, sincere and holy and wildly loving with one another. And there's no flipping, I call them wriggly worms. Wriggly worms are the human desires and manipulations and intentions going on underground, under the radar. No, I can detect that. I am the great detector. I will be able to feel if there's anything funky going on in that temple space. And I will call everything back to presence.
And other people participating in the work that you have, I know on my own, with my own experiences, that it creates within you a tremendous sense of self-love and surrender. And it's almost like surrendering into the moment. And the power of your own sexuality when it's de-villainized, if that's a word.
Yeah, I like that word.
Like it can bring up something inside of you. It's not that you don't care what's happening outside. You just know that you've got to own this space. And your work allows us to open ourselves up to that happening within ourselves. So we no longer be sort of buffeted about. And that's my experience of what you do. Like, it's so powerful. Because sexuality is the root of what we are, right? And we were created because of sexual union, right? And so it's a beautiful, holy thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the last question I have on my list here for you for today is, how can your work help a couple to build a more sacred relationship within their sexual union for greater intimacy as well as pleasure, to help them come to a new level of trust and love that they may never have had before? I think you already touched on it a bit, but just thought I'd ask.
Yes. Well, for the couples, this is when I would work with my beloved Pete. So it's kind of as if one stream of energy comes through us both. One gets spoken through the female being, one gets spoken through the male being. And I feel that when a couple sits in the presence of another couple rather than another man or another woman, there is immediately a sense of commonality, because otherwise you're going to get that triangle, one addressing two to one. So now there is this beautiful harmonium, 2 men, 2 women, holding space. And because relationship and love and sincerity and intimacy have been both our passions our entire life, we're pretty well adept at knowing what's going on between these two people, because we've flipping been there. We've been there. And because I'm between these two people, because we've flipping been there. We've been there. And because our minds are quite alchemical, if we see a certain energy, we know that the best thing to do is to apply the opposite in that moment. And we offer this in great neutrality and often a lot of joy and a lot of laughter and playfulness. And so again, we just remind these couples, beloved couples, don't be at war with one another, because what you have is the greatest medicine, the greatest healing, the greatest sanctuary. Instead of creating a war zone, you could instead offer a beautiful, safe sanctuary where the two of you can plummet so deep into your, forbidden material, the bowels of your being. And just draw them back into the greater horizon. What you have is a place of healing rather than a place of war. Lay down your defenses. Pete's been a military man, so he knows about war and defenses and tactics and staying safe. And so we speak to them on that level. We turn their attention from the problem to the holistic solution. And that wholesome healing is in their bodies. Stop fighting at the level of mind. Come back, hold each other in the body. And so what we can do is simply like flag up the map with great light and great laughter. Like a treasure map. You're hunting for the treasure in totally the wrong direction. Come over here. It's round the back of the mountains in that cave over there.
In the scary places.
We take the sting out of that argumentation that we can often get so stuck in.
For those who aren't familiar with the work that you do, you're saying two couples together, someone might not understand what holding space would be for that. So
holding space, when I say couple, I don't mean man-woman. I can mean woman-woman, man-man. So let's just clear that one.
Cool.
A beloved couple will come into the space. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience. I certainly had. When you are going into a healing realm and a male and a female are present, you can't help it. Your little body totally projects mum and dad on that couple. It is such a safe container, even if mum and dad were an absolute nightmare to live with. When a human being enters a realm where a man and a woman are holding space, the body, the nervous system goes, oh, mum and dad.
Wow.
And then it goes deeper. Once the process goes deeper and you start seeing the female face and the male face and hearing the female voice and the male voice, as you start to go deeper into the process, that projection of mum and dad also goes deeper. And you start going into the masculine and the feminine aspects of God, him, herself. And that is why I keep on going on about how the couple can represent the deepest possible healing for one another and others.
Wow.
Because if you know that projection is coming your way, you are being projected upon as either being the biological parents or the divine parents, then you better shape up and hold that space at exactly that level of projection. Because this beautiful little being is placing enormous trust in you, and therefore in the trust in you, and therefore in the presence of the couple, the ultimate healing can take place. You've got to remember, it was the parental role that caused these wounds in the first place. And therefore, the parental role can be the ones to lift it up and out of the being.
Wow.
But obviously, you can't do anything without that beautiful being being brave enough to go there in the first place and open up that material in their body and psyche.
And that is revolutionary. That's huge. There's so much wounding. I mean, how many children have been, even unintentionally, and parents do the best that they can, but unintentionally they project their own woundings onto their children. And this is huge that it could heal that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough for sharing this. If there's anything else that you'd like to add, I'd love to to hear it. I could talk to you for hours and hours and never get bored. You have so much wisdom and so much knowledge, and you're so effervescent and lovely as a person too. It's such an honor to know you. Honestly.
Oh, Anja, to be honest, I don't feel there's more because, thanks to your creation of your questions, you have really covered everything, wide and deep. The only thing I would say is it is time. The world and us humans, I believe, are absolutely thirsting and hungering, if that's such a word, hungering for this. And beloved friends, I want to say it is here. It is here and it is coming. And what I love about this, it's so simple. It's not at all complicated or complex what we're doing. It's just thought to go here. We haven't thought to go into the body and to sit, and as Mary Magdalene would say, love one another with the whole of our bodies, everything. The voice, the face, the hair, the movement, the embrace, the hand holding, the cheek stroking, the feet.
Thank you so much, Anaiya, for taking the time out today to come online with me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would love it if it would last longer, but yeah, I know you have things you have to get to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your courage, your bravery, and for sharing this incredible work that you developed. You're awesome.
Oh, I love you so much. Blessings, beloved. Yes. See you real soon, Anja.
You too. Thanks again. Bye-bye.